care.
Whoa!
Play the music. I'm gonna put something here. It's gonna be epic as fuck.
We already had an intro.
Yeah, but now there's the double intro, pussy.
Oh,
Season.
God damn.
3 hosts, 3 seasons, whatever.
3 intros.
3 intros. Do another intro, Josh. Anyway, welcome to Story Lords, the prompt-based fiction podcast with 2 prompts, 3 stories, and infinite laughter. I'm one of your hosts, Rich Masters, and with me, as always, is Josh Henderson.
I knew I was gonna be the next one. Hi, what's up? I love you. Rich sucks.
And Jeff Pennington. We've already started on the Rich abuse. We're 1 minute in.
Look,
It's been a month and a half.
look, you definitely didn't waste the hype of 3 intros there, Rich. Don't worry. I believe in you.
This week, our prompts were peaches and trophies, or trophies and peaches, whichever way they came out. But it doesn't really matter because we really put them in the story in whatever way we want to. So it's peaches and
coveted
trophies and
peach
trophies and
trophy.
peaches.
This feels
Coveted
pointed.
peach trophy.
This feels pointed for some reason, Rich.
Does it?
Who picked these? Did we know?
I sipped my tea.
Was that a sarcastic sip that you just
Yeah.
did?
Yep.
How British
Yeah, it
can you
was.
fucking get?
Jesus Christ, I'm ready to independence myself again.
Turns out this British.
I can fucking hear the poshiness.
The disdain in that
In
sip.
there.
Look, I didn't.
Are you gonna intro
I was-
the show or not?
I wasn't born in this country so that I could have blood in my veins. I was born with passive aggressiveness in them like every other fucker was in this country.
I thought you were just gonna end that. I wasn't born in this country.
Anyway, if you haven't listened to Story Lords before, basically what we do is our patrons give us prompts and we create 3 fiction stories based on those prompts. Sometimes loosely, sometimes we create whole characters and universes based on those prompts. It's very random.
Nothing matters. Everything matters.
Absolutely. So
Points don't matter and everything is made up.
Exactly. One of the stories.
Just talked about that.
One of the stories is sci-fi, one of the stories is normally fantasy, and one of the stories is normally horror. But we don't know what we're going to do this season because we haven't talked about it. I assume we're doing the same thing.
I'm a one-trick pony, so I hope you like the old hits. It's like
I haven't changed anything either.
No, me neither.
okay,
So,
I don't like change because of the mental problems I have.
there's enough change in the world at the moment. We don't need any more.
That's right. So I'm not going to change my underwear for 4 years.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or wear any.
Josh died the next day.
From butt rot.
From hardcore buttitis.
Josh,
Only regret.
go on, your only regret. So it does
He
step
has
all
to
over
finish
that.
the reference.
It's a reference. It's fine.
okay.
They know what
No,
it is.
okay.
They got it.
All right. Josh is going first this episode with the season opener. He's promised it'll be good. He said, if it's not good, I'm going to resign so you can't fire me.
We're going to probably get enough of that in the next 4 years. But, yeah. Okay, this week it's trophies and peaches, I guess. And my story is called Peaches and Scream.
Nice.
You like the song by 112?
Getting
the
those niche
dessert?
references.
Remember that?
Yes.
The early... we're starting. Play the intro. We're starting. The early morning birds chirped a chipper cheep. A soft covering of dew blanketed the forest greenery as a single merc monk opened his tree door. He breathed deeply of the Daranosian air and let out a contented sigh. Sure feels good to be alive, he said to himself as he took a long slurp from his acorn mug. Oh, hello there, Mrs. Bun Bun, he said, waving down below to a bunny rabbit carrying a carrot. Hello, Merc Monk, she said, waving back. Got some carrots for me, kids. The Merc Monk raised his acorn mug in recognition and smiled back. I grow carrots every other season, just so I don't get tired of the orange flavor, chimed in Mr. Robin next door. Nobody fucking asked you, you hollow-boned fuck! God, the Merc Monk screamed back at the Robin, seemingly out of nowhere, but we both know that fucker was probably doing some stupid neighbor-ass shit. Robins, you know how they are.
Taking our jobs and our women.
And our eggs? I don't know. It's just if you wanted some carrots, I could bring over some for you free of charge, of course, the Robin kept yammering on. Oh my God, shut the whole fuck up before I burn your entire tree down with your whole family in it. You red-chested, worm-sucking hover rat.
Whoa,
God
interrupted.
damn.
Hover rat.
What did this Robin do?
Josh hates Christmas.
All moved out. I do hate Christmas. My kids all moved out once they fuck this, the Merc Monk said as he slammed down his acorn mug, breaking it. He then stormed inside, slamming the door behind him. A second later, he drew the curtains closed, and a second after that, he peeked out of them, murmuring curses to himself, all while staring down the Robin. Above them, a streak of gold and lightning smoke shot through the sky. You don't see that too often, the Robin said to himself as he whistled, getting back to his gardening. Cut to! We're off to a great start this year. Oh my God, this was such a good idea, Axewound said as she picked up another cherry from off of a tray carried by a hot man slave. She delicately plucked the fruit from its stem with her teeth and savored the sweet red cherry meat, just like I savored your mama's sweet red cherry meat last night. But your mom wasn't a virgin, you say? Bitch, I ain't talking about the front hole. But your mom wasn't a butt virgin, you say? Well, I'd ask how you knew that, but I guess you are a piece of shit, so that would explain how she birthed you.
Wow.
Now we're off to a good start.
They're going to really feel that one in the audience.
It's going to sting right in the taint.
It's good. Fucking good. The third hole. What? Axewound then reached over to the tray and grabbed a perfectly ripened peach. Ding. Just like that, the perfectly ripened peach deflowered. Just
Ding yourself.
Yeah, I did. Just like the perfectly ripened peach I deflowered from your mama last night. Okay. It's the first episode of the season. I'm trying to remember how to write this shit. Okay, moving on. Have you tried the peaches, Ugg? Asked as she adjusted her bathrobe to show a little more cleavage since there's no censorship inside of your imagination yet. Oh my gods, I love peaches, Ugla responded as she bit into a peach of her own. Axewound bit slowly into the fruit as its juice ran down her chin. She felt so fulfilled and relaxed, so much so she let out a soft, contented sigh as she closed her eyes, finally able to relax. Just then, she felt a trickle of peach juice run down her lips. She opened her eyes and went to swipe away the juice, only to look at her hand, which was now covered in blood. What the fuck? Did we get blood peaches? She asked. Now I think these are regular peaches, ones that don't turn you into a chaise lounge or anything. Angela responded. Axe looked over to her only to see blood flowing from Ugla's own mouth. Ugla gave her a wide smile, showing her now red teeth, the whiteness of her chew bones barely visible through the now viscous red and almost black blood. In her hand was a normal peach. One that wouldn't even turn you into a hassock or anything. Do you know what a hassock is?
Some piece of furniture, I'm going to imagine.
It's a footstool, you uncultured fuck.
That's called an ottoman.
It's called a hassock if it's a hassock.
You're a fucking hassock.
There's also a buffet.
All right. Enough. Frenchman. I'm gonna fuck you in your pouffe. Axewound now looked down at her own perfectly regular peach. Inside, she saw maggots. The whole of the fruit was pulsating with maggots. Are you sure we didn't get maggot fruit, Ugg? Axe asked innocently. Jesus Christ.
You wrote it.
Pretty sure. Did I? Pretty sure, Ugla replied. Her face now was peeling off of her skull. The blood of her flesh was pouring off like Off of her bare skull like a fondue fountain, she took another bite of her perfectly normal peach, only for a swarm of locusts to burst forth in a dusty explosion. She murmured. Looking back again at her own peach, she now saw it was hovering in the air. Whoa, what the fuck? She began as her eyes followed from where the peach was hovering to where her hand should be. As she drew her eyes upward, she saw a gnarly, gangrenous stump where her arm should be. Oh, fuck, she said as she began to panic. Pain began to sear into her hazy mind as maggots now began to grow out of her stump. Before her eyes, they time-lapsed into pupae and then into flies, only for the flies to die again and again in a cycle that continued until Axwoon's own flesh and bones turned to dust. You gonna eat the rest of that? Ugly skeleton asked, pointing to her peach. Axwoon shot up with a scream as she clawed at her own stump, which was now wrapped in a dirty cloth. Fuck, 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 she screamed as she swiped at imaginary maggots, trying to remove them from her wound. Well, look who's finally awake. Good morning, Ugla said. She was sitting around a makeshift fire, picking tiny bones out of a hunk of fishy-smelling meat. You sweaty bitch, Axwoon said as she held out her hand as if to use her magic, but nothing came out. Yeah, you keep trying that. You keep failing. Although sometimes you call me a cunty bitch, and one time you called me a cancerous bitch's twatfold. That one was pretty coherent, and I thought you were going to remain awake for that one, but nope. Ugla bit daintily into a tiny amount of meat in her hand and spat out another bone. How long? Axe asked, wincing as she lowered her armless arm. What a great writer. Holy shit. So good. 3 days, Ugla responded. The two sat in silence as the crackle of the fire softened as its light dimmed. So what now? We become friends? We learn to respect one another in an attempt to get out of this shithole? Axwoon screamed the last part. It echoed through the ancient stone chamber. Huh. Ugla shook her head. Wait. Axwoon began to look around frantically. Where's my arm? You can reattach it with your healing magic. Axwoon lifted up some dirty old cloth and her makeshift bedding that Ugla must have found for her. Where is it? Oh no, she gasped. You're eating my arm, aren't you? You nasty arm-eating bitch, Axwoon seethed. What the fuck are you? That fever is either rotting your brain or the syphilis finally has eaten enough holes in your frontal lobe. What with all the whoring you do? And yes, I'm slut-shaming you because you are a crusty-ass, nasty-ass mongrel. I bet when you wake up in the morning, you have to rub the sleep crumbs from your eyes and your pussy.
Oh.
That's disgusting.
Who wrote that?
I don't know. I think Jeff did. Let's blame Jeff.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Jeff, you're on a warning here, Jeff.
Yeah, that's a red card. That's a yellow card,
I'm
Jeff.
gonna get fired.
It's a long episode.
Yeah. Where is it then? You can heal me. Two of us with magic is better than one of us with magic, Axe said, still frantically looking around for her lost appendage. Ugla sighed. I already tried to fix you, she said matter-of-factly. In fact, I already reattached your arm and used a lot of my healing knowledge to try and heal you. It didn't work. Then where? Axwoon started. It disintegrated, Ugla interrupted. Just poof, turned to dust, like ashes off a burnt branch. Like what happened to your cold, dead heart, probably. Fuck, Axwoon said, sitting down. I'm not eating your arm, Ugla said reassuringly. I'm eating this guy's arm. Ugla pointed over to a now armless fish man that had somehow survived the fight against the Lich. What the fuck? Axwoon shouted. What? Ugla shrugged. We were starving, and that guy is almost certainly more than 50% fish. I mean, look at him. The fish man groaned as his gills sucked in air as he slouched over. He was tied to a piece of rubble, though being armless and a fish man, he was pretty much useless now. That's some fucked up shit, you bitch, Axwoon said with a small laugh. Wait. In a sudden realization, Axwoon's eyes widened. She wasn't hungry. She wasn't hungry! Did you feed me this guy's arms? Axwoon screamed. Yes, Ugla admitted. I baby birded his arm meat and then French kissed them into your mouth like your canker sore mother used to do before she kicked you out of her nest, Ugla said sarcastically. So you didn't do that, Ugla Axemoon calmed down. No, Ugla shook her head. I just shoved the cooked arm meat into your suck hole and rubbed your throat like they do with dogs at the vet when they don't want to take their medicine. Kill me, the fishman screamed. Scrabbles, watch out for the falling lava, Demi screamed as she woke up. The sweat...
How does she know? What?
The sweat made her tunic stick to her like after you wake up from being sick and or going on a NyQuil bender for 3 days. She squinted as she saw she was on a cot inside of a tavern. Around her, she could hear yelling. Eat my shit, Gunk said as he pointed a stubby finger at Sid. You eat my shit, Sid shot back, pointing an even harder and more pointedly at Gunk. If anyone's gonna eat anyone's shit, it's me, Flyman said, trying to sound tough. Oh, who am I kidding? I don't deserve nice things. I'm just gonna go back in the back until you need me for a story or whatever the fuck we're doing here, he said as he skulked back into the back room. You should be thanking me, Gunk yelled. I saved the girl. It's not my fault the portal closed and you didn't get to hang out with your precious wife or whatever the fuck. I lost someone too. What are you recapping all last season for the viewers? Sid laughed. Get a load of Captain All Sea Flicks over here, Sid chided. You should be giving me a trophy, Gunk yelled. Yeah, okay, buddy, okay. Here's your trophy. Sid raised a single middle finger. Oh, look, it's a 2-for-1 special, he said as he slowly raised his second middle finger. This guy dips out of the gang and then thinks he deserves a trophy for going to the future and fucking a goth chick. That does sound pretty awesome, Chickpea interrupted. This dude sucked the fart out of his own butt with his fart-sucking lips and thinks he deserves to get a trophy. Get real, Sid kept going.
Get real.
That does sound pretty awesome, Peppercorn interrupted. Dude, come on, Fred said, shaking his head. Enough! Shouted a miniature voice from behind the bar. Everyone fell silent, save for a single ooh in the back room. I just lost the only family I ever knew, Demi screamed. And all you two idiots do is argue with each other. You know what I would do to get back with the people I supposedly loved? Demi pointed her rage at Gunk. And do you know what I would do just to get a glimpse of my friend A-Frame again? Do ya? She now redirected her attention to Sid. Kill a guy? Or like a whole family of guys, Sid added. Probably, Demi screamed. Starting with you two slack-jawed morons. I swear if I ever have to hear... But the sound of Demi's rage was now drowned out by a low rumble and hum. Fred said as he grabbed a bottle of whiskey and ducked behind the bar. The coasters and mugs all began to rattle and shake on the bar. This rolls, Chickpea said as she hopped up on a bar stool and conjured some kettle corn. And another thing, Demi raged on. Soon all the mugs on the bar were floating in midair like Goku had just jizzed while Super Saiyan, a.k.a. the real Super Saiyan 3.
Oh, I enjoyed that joke.
That was for you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Fuck! Demi said, finally putting an exclamation mark on her rant, just as she finished a streak of red shot through her dark hair as all the mugs crashed down onto the bar again. Some breaking and some spilling delicious meat all over the bar. Demi also collapsed back onto her cot out cold. The whole room again grew silent as Fred peeked his head out from behind the bar. So, this kid's haunted, right? We're going with that explanation, right? He said, drinking a swig of whiskey. We need to find other people with food and stuff we can take, Axemoon said, using her remaining hand to gnaw the flesh from the fishman's left index finger. You can't feel it, can you, Ugly asked. Of course you can't, because of the no magic thing. There isn't anyone else. The Lich, that thing you probably sucked off for dimes or whatever money is here, bottle caps or something stupid, I don't know. He killed everyone. Axemoon lowered her finger snack. She looked down almost with sadness. So, what you're telling me is, This is the last of the finger snacks we have, Axwood asked with a frown. We are stuck here. We are fucked because you thought you could have it all. Now look at you. No magic, no friends, no finger snacks, Ugla screamed. There might be someone. There might be someone left. The now completely legless and armless fishman interrupted. But you're going to have to go on an adventure. Finn, season 3 starts now. Daranos, baby, let's go. Roll credits. Woo! Wait, Ugla interrupted as the credits started to roll. She peeked her head out of the side of the screen, Porky Pig style. This actually fucking sucks. Like, I could be back at Daranos right now getting cunnilingus by Sid, but instead, I'm in this Furiosa hellscape with this finger-licking twat burger. Plus, I have to carry her ass around now, or what? She can't do anything. Maybe if we run into a secret door with a particularly phallic-looking secret lever she can fillet our way into, maybe she'll prove useful. But other than that, I doubt we're going to run into the whole 1985 Chicago Bears defense for her to seduce and steal their life essence, or whatever the fuck she calls sucking their jizz through a magical swirly straw that is her magical craft. Fuck! Ooh, Flyman oohed from the back room. Finn.
Damn. How are our heroes gonna get out of this one?
Probably through sucking
I don't
dick.
know. The answer to all of Daranos' problems is suck a dick.
Same as all life problems, really.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not very good at sucking dicks.
Sure.
I disagree.
Sure, buddy.
I mean,
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
I need constant reassurance.
That was great.
in doing. Thanks.
The story and the blowjob.
Oh, cool. Thanks. I'm glad you liked both. I didn't know. I don't really know. I didn't really. I kind of knew where I wanted to go, but I just like it's so hard to start again.
No, you needed a prologue.
It really is.
You needed a prologue. Yours is the one that continues, so you need almost like because you haven't got an epilogue episode, you need a prologue to get you back on track, right?
Yeah.
I think it was great.
But I'm gonna try not to like be hard on myself and just like let the stories go. Let it flow, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The jizz and the words.
Yeah. What's the diff?
If you work too hard at beating your dick, it'll become chafed and spongy.
Yeah, and you should.
You need to work the exact correct amount on your dick to get the 3.
The soul is willing, but the flesh is spongy and bruised.
I like
no,
Ugla.
That was a
and,
great story.
I like Ugla and Axe's little back and forths. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. It's the season of buddy cop. It's buddy cop season.
Sisters doing it for themselves.
Am I right, ladies?
I love a buddy cop, so I am fully on board.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll get handcuffed to each other with like magical handcuffs or something.
And they have to do it to get out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to scissor.
They have to really get the lube going so that they can get out of the cuffs.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need to explain that.
Yeah, in detail.
Thoroughly.
So if you want to submit the prompt lube and cuffs, head over to patreon.com/storylords now.
It's going to be a Story Lords Nights.
That's the segue.
Right. Excellent. Jeff, I'm having trouble hearing you, so we're going to have to sort that out during the break. So we're going to go on a break right now and sort that out, because this is otherwise the next 2 episodes and not parts of the episode are not going to go very well. We'll be right back. welcome back to part 2. I definitely didn't have any audio issues
Yeah.
in between. We figured it
Some
out.
other issues.
Oh, yeah. I mean, tons.
yeah.
Let's just not go there. It's only the first episode of the season.
Yeah, we don't want an existential crisis. On the first
Rich
one.
said some things about some minorities that we don't really want to be repeating on the show.
Look, I just read what was in the book Josh gave me. I still haven't finished it, but I was using that as a sort of segue to ask Josh some questions about what his stance is on it, because I just don't understand it.
Just pass the buck.
Sassy stance, number 1.
Bent over.
Yeah, doggy style.
It is my turn to read, and I am quite quietly confident that this is a good episode.
Would you say you're comfortable?
Yes, I am. I've built my pillow fort where I'm going to jizz myself. My episode.
You're not even taking the pants off. You're just jizzing yourself.
Why?
I mean,
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
When you got a 3, you got a 3.
Yeah. So, my episode this week is called I Know What You Picked Last Summer.
It's about peaches, I bet.
It is, you're right. Hello, I'm Dr. Lee Wen, and I'm here to tell you there are thousands of dimensions. Ones of sight and sound, ones of the mind, ones where your dad didn't take one look into those baby blues and saw what a monumental disappointment you were going to become. I mean,
Good thing I have green eyes, damn.
he still left eventually because you're a colossal drag on society and he could just feel it, you know? Deep in the core of his soul. He realised, this kid is just fucking pointless. If I spent every second of every day trying to make something from this heap of detritus I call an offspring, I'd still not have enough worth to trade for one of those shit and jizz-stained mattresses you can just find for free under a bridge.
Rich, when is the science fiction gonna start?
Yeah.
Anyway, this journey we find ourselves on today is one where the only boundaries are our imaginations and the sort of imposed word limit only a humorous fiction audio podcast can provide. And sometimes be ignored.
I was about to say.
That wasn't in the story originally. There is a signpost up ahead, one that reads, Toll road $3? Bitch, I ain't paying that. That's more than I spend on your mother's ass. Oh wait. There's another signpost. It reads, next stop, the Omni-Zone.
Omni-Zone.
Play the fucking intro. Let's go.
Let's go, boys! The space station Sigma, named because the builders were big fans of Mega Man X, rotated around the newly terraformed planet of New Georgia. After the self-induced
Now there's 3 Georgias? God, this is confusing.
After the self-induced destruction of Earth when, in his 69th term, President reanimated corpse of Supreme Ruler Trump slumped forward on his toilet throne and hit his decaying orange forehead on the nuclear launch button.
This is very Warhammer 40k.
In the resulting wasteland, where the Republicans were of course blaming the absence of the sun on Hunter Biden's laptop,
Too real.
research into new homes in the galaxy had begun. Scientists and engineers from each part of the world had poured their country's budgets into funding space programs. The British Ark project had taken off and sadly, laden with the colonial spoils from other countries so that they could protect them from their own people, had immediately recrashed into the Earth.
Classic British space program.
Taking the whole of the British population with it, simultaneously removing 96% of proper queuing etiquette and correct pronunciation from the human race.
You know what? Good.
Say taco, Rich. Say taco real quick.
Yeah, say taco.
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 I've
said taco.
The Greek superboat scheme used olive oil-based fuel, which meant their ship slid straight off the landing pad and directly into the Aegean.
Dude, like a giant fucking fish fry.
But Sigma Station was part of the terraforming project from the state of Georgia, from what was once the lackluster old US of A, and they were one of the first crews to get a ship out into the Great Yonder, which is as wide as your mama's legs after 2 drinks and 2 tickets to any movie with Amy Adams in it.
Damn, you got my mom pegged. Also, why Georgia?
You'll see, because it's the peach state.
Oh, fucking hell. Of course.
The school bell rang. This is where the story starts. And proud Georgian would-be colonist Libby Greenwood, daughter of preeminent bioengineer Byron Greenwood sprinted faster than Tom Cruise runs to escape anyone focusing too long on the fact that he's a horrible monster that propagates a predatory cult and doesn't talk to his kids because they don't believe some space lord called Xenu brought thousands of beings to Earth when it was called, wait for it, Tigigak. I'm not normally...
Yeah.
Now,
Gigak?
That's like Rick and Morty as fuck.
Now, to be honest, I'm not normally dismissive of the way people live their lives, so long as they perfectly coincide with my worldviews and opinions.
So, he is British. Confirmed.
But I can't take any religion seriously when their naming conventions sound like the noise someone makes when they catch their dick in their zip unexpectedly.
Takigu!
Libby clutched onto her rucksack straps and hurdled over the walkway barrier in a display of athleticism that might have made her nerd of a dad love her a little less. She slid down the station hall stairwell and into the arboretum, thinking hiding in isolated woods was better than going and seeking help. But then, given this station was governed by station security from the previous state of Georgia, she couldn't risk running into any sort of authority for fear of demonstrating herself to be a competent young woman exercising some sort of body autonomy or self-preservation and instantly being imprisoned or something.
This is evergreen as fuck.
This is depressing me.
That's why we're here.
I'm gonna kill you when I catch you, freak! Came a yell from one of the boys behind her.
Oh my god, am I in Georgia right now?
Fuck you. You couldn't catch syphilis from a $2 hooker even if she kissed you goodbye in the morning before she walked you to the school bus, Libby shouted back.
What a night.
Smug at her good insult, but wishing she could have made it a little pithier on account of her being out of breath from all the sprinting and all. She darted through the carefully managed fields of replanted and bioengineered corn ready to be relocated planetside, where her father was leading the team completing the pre-transfer for the populace. To be honest, her dad was kind of the problem. He had pulled the family out years before the station was hospitable, while the planet was still a giant blue ball, uncharted by humans, much like the giant blue balls with no human contact of the average listener of the podcast.
Damn! Fucking destroyed.
Suck it, losers.
Thanks for listening.
Suck it, losers. Get your own podcast if you want to blast me back.
Yeah! He did it!
The survey mission on the surface had exposed the three of them to high doses of unknown radiation that had hospitalised all of them. Her father had recovered quickly. Libby had remained in a coma for a month, but ultimately was fine. But her mother... A rock flew from the tree line and hit her square in the head, knocking Libby off her feet. When she landed, she was disgusted with herself that birds were circling her head, thinking stars would be much less feminine. As she tried to pull herself up, another momentum took over, and the giant of a teen that lifted her off the ground by her bag straps glared back at her. His name was Don Bogback, the son of one of the bioengineers planetside, who had as much chance of following in his mother's footsteps as he had avoiding the hideous and inevitable genetic heart condition that had killed the men earlier in his family for the last 3 generations. What? I mean, no, honestly, this kid is a dick, believe me. It doesn't matter that he'll die of a congenital heart disease if he's still a class 1 prick, does it? Look.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 70 years of that.
Look, if I said it was funny that Hitler would have died earlier of a congenital disease, you'd agree, right? Well, maybe Josh wouldn't.
Hitler?
Come on.
Well, maybe Josh wouldn't, but let's not go there this early in the season.
I am going to take a picture of my bookshelf, and you find that book. You find it for me.
I can't, because you sent it here in one of your... I assume recruitment schemes.
That's right.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing I have Photoshop capabilities when you send that photo, Josh.
No.
It's going to be more than Mein Kampf there.
It's a textbook shop. I can tell by the pixels.
Oh, God, I want to kiss her. The voice came through as clear as Catholic priests' intentions when they suggest a sleepover at Bible camp.
Wow.
But
Wow.
Don Bogback's mouth hadn't moved, and neither had those of the future fraternity living date rape drug enthusiasts he's hung around with. Shut up, not now, Libby muttered as she tried to silence the voices in her head. She remembered her mum, screaming in pain in that hospital. She remembered her mother muttering about the voices and the visions her radiation brain damage psychosis had caused. She remembered as the military had pulled young Libby away never to see her mother before her death. Pepperidge Farm remembers too, but this was less kind than the old man and more intense childhood trauma that scarred you for fucking life.
Okay, I want some fucking ginger snaps.
It's a very American reference I made. It was very ethnocentric of me.
Ethnocentric, yep.
Sorry to correct you, but poor breeding and your neurons firing slower... Oh, sorry, Dan hit her in the guts. You made me look stupid in class, Greenwood, he sneered. I'm sorry to correct you, but poor breeding and your neurons firing slower than two tortoises fucking is what made you look stupid.
Damn.
I just highlighted it for the rest of the class. She smiled, always the quip before she had calculated the consequence. He winded her with another punch, then dropped her to the floor.
This kid's beating up a girl? Shit, man.
Equal opportunities in the future.
That's true. They all shower together, too, I bet.
She looked at them surrounding her, gasping through gritted teeth. Of the four of them, 3 were ogling her maturing body, their teenage hormones telling them things they didn't understand. Only Dan still glared at her, but something, a little voice inside her head, pounding at the inside as if it wanted to break free. I'll do it, the voice whispered. It was coldly convincing. I'll stab her, either with my knife or my flaccid little chipolata. Wait, what am I thinking here? Get on with it, Dan.
Flaccid little what?
It's like a tiny sausage.
This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
A chipolata?
Dude, Vienna sausage.
Look,
you gotta stupid it up for us.
I'm glad to broaden your horizons with new vocab.
Well, you didn't know what a hassock was, so yeah.
I mean, there you go. Every day is a learning opportunity, right?
Sure.
It's an educational podcast,
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely.
Hope I get fired.
You got one more chance, Greenwood, Dan said, unblinking. The science symposium's in 3 weeks. If you don't hand me a project that will win me that science trophy so I can get that cushy government job I deserve because of my money and white privilege, I will got you.
He's a biff.
Bogback pushed her into the dirt, and by the time she'd collected herself and stood, the boy was back over her. Shouldn't you be studying, Mr. Bogback? A voice came from behind her. With your grades and those flat-faced pug dog looks, the only thing that can save you from a stunning career as a crash test dummy for asteroid shields is a bit more work and a bit less bullying my star student. She turned to
Snape.
It's not helping.
She turned to find the green-checked suit, waxed moustache and overall smell of blackboard chalk, even though this was the future and they hadn't used blackboards or chalk for 200 years, of her father's mentor and biology teacher, Professor Must E. Bookington.
Oh my god. 17 pages. All right.
I am so immersed in this world you're creating, Rich.
Must E. Bookington.
Look, I didn't say I was good at naming, all right?
That's a great name.
He was her father's boss, but spent most of his time teaching these days. The boys gave one last seething glare at Libby and scarpered back to the concourse and back into the crowds at the restaurantorium level. Just past the dessert house, That's No Moon Pie, and the new Italian place, Jean-Luc Piccata.
Oh my god.
It's a coincidence. They don't have Star Trek.
Yeah.
Just the guy who runs
The guy who runs it, Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
You know, I find that putting up your fists in a fight tends to help more than sharp barbs, Miss Greenwood. Bookington shook his head. Win many duels on your way to professorship, Bookie? Libby snorted. You have no idea.
Bookie.
You have no idea how many once-upon-a-time mathletes I've killed and buried in the stacks on my path to tenure, Libby. He reached a hand down and pulled the girl up to her feet. Are you all right? Libby pulled her bag over one shoulder and walked with Bookington back to the station concourse.
Oh, that's in style again. One shoulder bag, yeah.
It's cyclical.
It was 2 when I was in school, so...
One shoulder bag is sick as fuck, though. We all know this.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have the confidence.
Apparently white socks and black shoes are fashionable now as well.
Yeah, it's...
The fuck is
like
Tube
90s.
socks as well.
Yeah, it's the 90s again.
Once they were back in amongst people again, Professor Bookington side-eyed her. If you need any help, Libby, you know you can come to me, right? The poor girl is a wreck, and who can blame her after what happened to her mother? The voice came in her head. Apart from the need to not have a teacher helping her, Libby was determined to sort this thing out herself, with her own 2 hands and an elaborate way to prank and humiliate Bogback with something that hopefully would ruin the rest of his short childhood. Because of the congenital heart disease, remember? Fuck you, Bogback.
Just make him run a mile or something.
Yeah. I know, but I'm okay. I think I just need to talk to someone. Pickle! Byron Greenwood looked up from the tree he was scanning with a furrowed brow. What are you doing here, Libby? His voice was muffled from the environmental suit he was wearing, but she could tell he was more shocked than pleased. Libby kicked up at the dry earth with the toe of her suit, sure that the soil seemed more hospitable than the last time she was here. She stared at the rows upon rows of peach trees grown in the alien soil from the seeds transported from the Georgian seed bank back up on Sigma. They looked beautiful. Every peach the size of a melon, like it was a Cardi B sponsored twerkathon down here.
I'd buy that for $1.
It looks like they're taken, Dad. Looks like we'll be off the ration packs in weeks. Not this batch, kiddo. He pointed a thumb back over his shoulder where an army of scientists were burning the crops with chemical flamethrowers. They're poisonous, according to the scans they've been taking. The whole plantation has to be destroyed. Libby gave him a look. I mean, you're still going to try and grow other plants though, right, Dad? So we all don't die of malnourishment. He laughed. Of course. But this is all I can focus on right now, he shrugged. I've got everyone in my team on it. Bioengineers, architects, chemists. This project is so big, Libby. It sucked me in harder than a foot in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
I love that scene where, like, the character has a foot on the windowsill and he floats over to it.
Just like...
Architects? There are architects working on this Georgia peach project?
Yeah,
You gotta build buildings and shit, right?
For what?
Maybe we'll see. He trailed off, noticing Libby's obvious discomfort. You okay, Pickle? She bit her lip and then looked up at him with wet eyes. Dad, what happened to Mama? Byron turned from side to side, watching the technicians around him look away hurriedly to look busy. He pulled her to one side in the shade of one of the trees. You know we can't talk about that, Libby. Everything about that survey was classified. I can get into a lot of trouble for just... I've been hearing voices, Dad, Libby blurted out, just like she was. He stared at her, then pressed his helmet tight to hers. His eyes had changed. There was a panic-like desperation there, like when Trump is asked to read an auto cue word of more than 4 letters. No, you aren't. You hear me? Even through the suit, she could feel her father's fingers biting into her skin. It's just the silly imaginings of a teenager, Libby. You want to hear something, you hear this. If you don't want to be prodded and poked the rest of what will be a short life, shorter than Bogback's anyway, you just do what your mama should have done.
Everyone knows about this.
Her dad knows?
You bury those voices and you stay quiet. There are things more serious than you and I are at stake here. We're talking extinction, Libby. Dad, you're hurting me, Libby whispered, scared. Her dad almost shook the thoughts away and smiled at her. Sorry, Pickle. He released her as if nothing had happened, then patted her on top of the environmental suit. Byron Greenwood looked over his shoulder, his visor lit orange by the flames growing in the distance. Difficult to watch hard work go up in smoke, you know. I'll be back station side in a few hours. Maybe we can go try that new burger joint. One small step for ham.
Oh, wow. Oh, God. My congenital heart defect.
We can talk about some things then. She nodded, and he quickly turned and was engrossed in his work again. She watched them all, scurrying around, frantically destroying the peaches. She tried to locate Byron in the crowd, but he had gone, so she returned to the shuttle station. 12 hours later, and Byron Greenwood hadn't arrived back home yet. Libby had used her time to do what most respectable teens would do given hours of solace in cramped crew quarters. She jerked off twice, and then watched a few of the hardest R-rated movies that the cinephiles could produce. She was knee-deep. Yeah. She was knee-deep in Vilifier 2, Revenge of the Vilifier, when she heard a small voice.
Love that one.
A woman calling to her, asking her for help. "I'm in here, Libby." It was coming from the room her father had made into a small lab so he could work from home. She had heard...
It's a skinwalker!
She had heard lots of other voices these past few months, but this one sounded almost like her mother. Her father's office opened with alarming ease thanks to 15 incorrect guessings of her dad's password and a crowbar. She told herself it was because she was worried, not just about her dad's absence. He was regularly forgetting appointments and getting wrapped up in his work, but about his demeanour down on the planet. He had only been that manic just after her mother had died. She knew what that felt like, but this was something else. The sort of mania and confusion that probably doesn't help Democratic presidential campaigns 2 months out from fucking election day. God damn you, you fucking stupid old sponge-brained bastard. Shooting yourself in the face on live television, literally instead of figuratively, probably would have been better.
Yeah, you don't even live here. You don't even live here. You don't even know.
It's however bad you think it is, way worse.
It's gonna be way worse.
Sure
So bad. It's gonna be fucking.
I mean,
I'm out.
I've got another 2 bedrooms. Is all I'm saying. If you want to come visit.
Hey.
Oh yeah, and my birthday's the same as Evan, so I can beat him.
But just steal his passport.
Legos, please.
But in reality, she wanted to know about her mother's death and the secrets surrounding it. After Shannon Greenwood had awoken from the radiation blast, she talked about hidden intentions, about secrets, the voices she heard from other people's minds. Then she would get angry, telling Byron and Libby that they were unwanted here, that they should leave before they die. Libby was young, but that terrifying image of her mother, so furious at her, had burned itself into her memory, and now she could hear her. "Libby, help me, free me." The voice was clear as a bell, and as Libby's eyes adjusted to the halogen and the humming light of the lab, she saw no one. In fact, only 2 things sat on the desk in her father's office, the office he worked furiously in for nights on end, a pile of papers, and one of the giant peaches from the grove down on New Georgia.
Eat the peach.
It was even bigger.
That's her mom. Shut up.
Eat the mom, Peach.
Don't eat your mom.
It was even bigger. Eat someone else's mum is the podcast.
Your mom.
I've seen a few videos, and it's okay if they're the stepmom.
Okay, well that's bad.
The peach was trapped in the dryer.
Uh-oh, not again.
It was even bigger than the ones down on the planet, though. A watermelon of a peach, the skin oddly leathery and darker. The peach pulsed with an odd orange light, moving and undulating just under the skin as her hand reached out to it. Libby grabbed the file and flicked through it. Pictures of her mother, reports, medical scans. Her eyes skimmed select words in the text. Radiation, telepathy, communication, testing, ancient. She turned to the peach, which almost winked in the light in recognition. "Free me, Libby. I can help you get answers." She had no idea why, but she was compelled to lift the file and the fruit and stash both into her large camping backpack. She hoisted the heavy bag off the floor and slid it across the floor into her room and under her bed. "We need to leave, Libby. They're here." "What are you?" Libby began, but a chime at the door to their quarters made her jump out of her skin, and she pulled the door to the office closed to welcome her dad. As she opened the door with her best, giving him shit for forgetting he had a daughter face, she was greeted by Professor Bookington, flanked by 2 station security guards. He tried to meet her eyes, but gave up instead at his feet. "Libby, it's your father," he whispered. Libby Green.
Uh-oh.
Libby Greenwood stood at the window to the lab and stared through the glass at the burned corpse of her father with very confused feelings.
Damn.
What the fuck?
On one hand, she was
You got Uncle Owen?
On one hand, she was incredibly distraught at the death of the man she loved most in the universe, her last surviving parent. On the other, she was angry that he had lied about her mother. And on yet another, no, she didn't have free hands. This is the future, and some people might, I guess. The sight of the vending machine in the hallway acted on her empty stomach, and she realised how hungry she was. Yes, she realised how fucked up it was, but these emotions and her tiredness were confusing her, okay? And, bitch got to eat.
Yeah, you gotta eat space food, whatever. She's gonna eat that peach, though, I'll tell you that right now.
A flamethrower accident, they had said. Volatile chemicals.
What a way to go.
Seriously, it's the fucking funniest thing.
What a way to go.
Damn.
A flamethrower accident, they had said. Volatile chemicals, high pressure, and a man who was hardly careful at the best of times. Libby smelt the bullshit even above the lingering smell of her father's cooked flesh.
Jesus.
Byron had been distracted recently. Following Shannon's death and the need to terminate his project, he had been walking with his head in the clouds. He was a good friend, Libby, but he had been a shadow of his former self. He begged me to let him keep working, and in hindsight I should have just said no. Bookington blamed himself, but Libby knew exactly why he was distracted. She was to blame with all her chat about her mother. I think you should go gather your things and stay with me for a bit, Libby. Bookington put his hand on Libby's shoulder. Libby took a deep breath. If anyone knew what to do with Dad's peach and the file, it would be the Professor. Sir, Dad's work, he didn't tell you anything about the work, did he? He always was a bit lax with the rules, Byron. Bookington's eyes narrowed. Please, child, I don't want to have to kill you too. I can't have to dispose
Whoa!
What the fuck?
I can't have to dispose of all three of you over those things. His thoughts rang out in her head. Also, I hope she can't hear that I have that Bluetooth butt plug in.
He's gonna go cheat at chess.
Cold sweat beaded her hairline and her flesh prickled to be so close to the man suddenly. Bookington had killed her parents? It didn't make sense. He had been their friend for 20 years. Dad's boss, her mentor. All she knew right now was that she needed to get as far away from here as soon as possible. His boring peaches, she laughed, trying to hide her voice from breaking. I couldn't have cared less about that, and he knew it, I think. Would have fallen on deaf ears. She felt his relief, his thanks, the underlying shame of both killing and wearing sex toys at work.
You get used to it.
Before he could say another word, she got up. I just need to go pack some clothes and stuff. Things like our family albums and things. I'll meet you back here in an hour or so? Bookington nodded. Of course, child. Then we'll sweep the house and find where Byron hid his little pet. His thoughts chased her down the hall. Libby set up in the maintenance walkways of the station and set her binoculars on the crew quarter block. There had been a part of her that hadn't believed it, that the voices in her were psychosis from radiation exposure just like her mother. But as she...
Space madness.
Space hysteria.
Hysterics.
But as she watched the station security storm into the block, got the notification of them entering the house, and watched Must E. Bookington arrive 2 hours later in a fury at nothing being found, the reality became very clear to her. She was a fugitive now, and not even like a cool one that was carrying a fruit.
Dude, the future is crazy.
Illegal fruit smuggler.
I'm not a peach, Libby. We just use the plants for propagation, for transmission systems. The fruit had been trying to talk to her for hours, but after Libby had threatened to turn it into a cobbler, it had remained quiet for some time. While she waited, she had scoured the files from her father's desk, like Leonardo DiCaprio scours school registers to try and tap up his future girlfriends for the next 20 years.
That explains it.
Oh, got him.
When the family were charting the caverns of New Georgia, they had walked into a nest of the slumbering bug-like denizens of the dead planet, hibernating and waiting for new conditions to emerge that would never come. They tried to communicate with the Greenwoods, but the resulting telepathic blast had put them all into comas. Like all things in life, the men were oblivious and unaffected, but the women, primarily Shannon Greenwood, bore the brunt of it. Her mind was open to telepathy, and being untrained, the resulting mess was like pouring a gallon of water into a thimble, or the loads of that whole frat house your mother likes into her front butt.
Wow. Just calling them loads is so gross.
It's pretty nasty.
I mean, she's your mum, guys.
Yeah, well,
Our collective mom.
It's just everyone who isn't me's collective mum. It drove her insane as she acted as sounding board for the cries of a species whose home was being poisoned and the thoughts of everyone around her. When the military figured out what was going on, they took her and cut her open like a roast chicken on a delicious English roast dinner. Real talk, Rachel's cooking a roast as I'm writing this, because it's Sunday, and you guys don't even know how good it smells. Yes, Josh, I will cover it in brown gravy because that's delicious. Oh, where were we? Oh yeah, dissecting an innocent woman's brain.
I'm so hungry.
This dude loves brown.
He does.
Who doesn't love brown?
Racist.
America?
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Same thing.
You're wrong. When your father found out what they had done to her, he came to see us again, and we were able to study you, find more quiet ways to communicate, the Peach said. He wanted to help us, ever the scientist. He found a way to use these fruit trees to change our genetic code. We are now perfect, can grow even in these terraformed conditions. Though your military men think they have killed us, Byron created a whole network of roots throughout the planet. We will soon hatch and take our world back. What about us? Libby asked, watching as Bookington left the crew quarters in disgust. She was filled with rage just looking at him. There are good people here waiting for a new home who would love to share it with you. Unfortunately, the planet cannot sustain a paramilitary force aiming to kill us, the Peach explained. Idiots who vote against their own self-interest in their planet and species was how we got ourselves into this problem in the first place. Same, Libby sighed. Then you see that we could not do this again. Wait, what if I could guarantee that wouldn't be an issue going forward, Libby said. 3 weeks later, the 140th Historic Science Symposium of Georgia was a grand affair on the station, with competitors in all fields relating to the state's pursuit of knowledge. Now the leaders had decided that those lib-cucks were all gone and left in the fiery apocalypse, they could answer science's pressing questions like, how close is a cousin, really?
Right?
Virgin brides, if they aren't good enough sexually for their own families, are they good enough for yours?
Oh my god.
This is a bad state, I think.
And what's that big yellow ball in the sky doing?
I don't trust it.
It don't pay taxes.
It's illegal.
Alongside those were serious experiments from more liberal and less gaudy scientists, teaching about terraforming and crop cultivation in new environments. Then, of course, there were the juniors, desperate for their work to be recognised by science schools and giving them the leg up into the work they yearned for. I don't care about your excuses, General. As soon as I finish judging this shitty competition, I'll be having a talk with the Admiralty about your team's inability to locate a 15-year-old girl, Bookington hissed into a communicator as he moved onto the stage at the junior science competition. He hurried the device into his pocket and stood by the giant trophy on display for the winner. Bookington stared out into the crowd with a plastered-on fake smile full of two white teeth searching for a glimpse of Libby. Hello, everyone! His false cheeriness was well practised, but forced. Very, very forced. Only enhanced by the butt plug vibrating away happily.
Damn, this dude needs to take a break.
Does anybody hear that? Does anyone hear that buzz? Where's that coming from?
I think it's some feedback from the mic or something. That's what I'm going to say.
Welcome to the junior categories of this year's symposium. The bedrock of science is the spark of an inquisitive mind. The handlers pushed out a large display on wheels, hidden from view by a large purple curtain. Bookington gave it a side glance and kept on. For it is when the young root is allowed to flourish that the tree becomes... He trailed off as he looked down at the children in front of the display. Dan Bogback stood proud with his fellow miscreants, the four of them incapable of holding their dicks to piss straight without 4 diagrams and the unfortunate hand of an appropriate adult. But here they were on stage with an actual display, looking like 4 cats who had got the cream. Are you ready? Libby thought strongly. 10 seconds. Are you sure about this, Libby? This is a big step for one so young, the voice called back out to her. Libby could see the confusion on Professor Musty Bookington's face, but better, she could hear it. This learned man, the murderer of her parents, stood on the stage scanning the crowd, and as his gaze fell on her, pinpointed because she was lifting 2 middle fingers directed solely at him with a shit-eating grin, he looked up at the display in some sick realisation. He immediately pulled the curtain down to reveal a giant lattice where peaches were growing, all as big as adult humans. A crudely lettered sign, Bogback and Crew's only addition, declared this experiment measured the effects of alien soil on fruit growing. There were at least 4 spelling mistakes, one in Bogback's own name.
Dan Bogback.
Now, Libby commanded with her mind. The fruit burst and ripped open from inside, and out of them burst the alien drones who were the former inhabitants of the planet, Libby's new neighbours and allies. It had been easy to use her dad's clearance credentials to get the peaches delivered to the station, where 3 weeks of growth and some well-picked placement meant that every police officer, every military personnel, agent of cruelty and dirtbag that she had heard the thoughts of and targeted in the last few weeks would now come face to face with people with a bigger stick. The aliens rounded on Bookington, tearing him apart until all that was left on stage was a scrap of tweed and a buzzing silver stud.
It's the fucking top from Inception. Is it gonna
Still
stop?
spinning.
Is it gonna stop? Is this real?
Then they went through the crowd, using Libby's mental descriptions and images she had put into their minds as a checklist of pricks to mow through. She knew that this was essentially cleansing people based on their ideologies. But to be fair, liberals had tried all other ways and it had never worked. Sometimes you've got to fight fire with giant fucking fire-spewing dicks. Fuck those conservative, lying, hidden racist pieces of shit with their virtue signalling and baiting and hatred masked as patriotism. They'd all die, and out of the ashes something new would be given a chance for a change. One alien... Yes. Libby's friend that she had rescued from her father's office stayed on stage and turned towards Dan Bogback. I said Den Bogback.
He said that.
Dan Bogback. Him? She asked. Yeah, he's just a prick, but he is a plagiarist, Libby said. The alien pounced on the frozen in fear, pea-panted statue of Dan Bogbank, and as the alien tore his gormless little face off, Libby took the rosette and pinned it to the peach lattice display, taking the trophy for herself. Hello, I'm Dr. Lee Wen here again. In the Omni-Zone, each story gets you a lesson that sticks in the soul and makes you re-evaluate your life choices. Sometimes the lesson is good, like stop and smell the flowers, or love the one you're with. Sometimes it's bad, like don't stick your dick in a listener's mother if you don't want your dick to light up with VD that is visible from space.
Damn, space VD.
What's today's lesson, you ask? Well, it's that if people were pushed too far by the atomic wedgie of oppression, the elastic waistband of justice sometimes pings you back in the testicles all the harder. Remember this, the next time you visit the Omni-Zone. Cheryl, yes, it's Dr. Wen. Yes, Cheryl, we're quite a small operation here. There's only one Dr. Wen. No, that's WHEN. He's in temporal analysis.
Oh, God.
Well, with a name like that, I guess he didn't have a choice, did he? Anyway, can you turn the hollow imager off? I'm not sure how to... Oh, the little button on the right. The red one or the blue one? Yellow? Cheryl, there's not a fucking yellow. Oh, stage right. Okay, well, that's just plain confused. Click. God. The end.
That was great.
That was fucking excellent, dude. That was
Thank
very
you.
like I felt very much like I was reading a Ray Bradbury novel
Yeah.
that someone had addended with curse words and dick references.
Good. I'm glad.
If Ray Bradbury fucked our moms.
Who
might have
knows?
done.
Really?
I don't think so.
Wait until episode 5. No, I'm checking out.
God.
This dude probably got it all planned out. No, that was great. So it's like you're gonna do anthology, or are you? Or maybe I shouldn't ask because maybe it's a surprise.
It's a shame that the cricket sound effect we use can't be used right now out loud.
I'll just do it.
There we go.
Imagine
Cricket's there. We can hear it, but you can't.
You can't.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, okay.
Don't.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't say anything.
Don't fucking talk to me.
Lee Wen will return.
Lee Wen.
In
what
Avengers.
about the temporal guy?
Yeah, John Wen might also return occasionally.
John Wen, cousin to John Woo, loves pigeons.
They're cousins because they have the same first name, you see?
That's right.
Of course.
And they both love cousins. How close is a cousin anyway? That was good.
That was a
Yeah.
10 out of 10. That's one of my
thank
favorite
you.
stories you've ever told.
Oh, that's great.
That was great.
I did, so, yeah, but it didn't feel like 17 pages, right?
No.
No. It's,
No.
Do you know?
It was closer to like a 15.
Oh,
page.
cool. Like a normal.
It was like
yeah.
16 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt more like
Yeah.
16.8.
Yeah,
pages.
yeah. It's harder writing a self-contained story.
Yeah, welcome
Yeah,
to
it
my
is,
world,
right?
bitch.
Like, I feel like if I'm not careful, this is the new pattern, because in order to tell something that I need to and get the Lee Wen bits at the end and the beginning, that's a page in and of itself. That
Yeah.
the Omniverse.
That's why there's only 2 episodes
Omni-Zone.
that have 10-cent price in them of Spooky Vision, because it's so hard to fit it into a
Yeah.
limited amount of pages.
You just
That and he wanted more money. And we didn't.
He wanted minimum wage, and we couldn't handle it.
They were like, "Your name's 10-cent price, bitch. Like you get 10 cents."
change your
That's what you
name and
get.
come back to us.
Yeah.
Dollar price.
Nah, I fucking love that story.
Oh, good.
It was good.
Good. Right. 2 down, 1 to go.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. No. If we're going to use the soundboard, we need to do it so that other people can hear it. We need to find a way.
Figure it. There's a
You're going to have to edit it into the episode at this rate.
Yeah, I'm not gonna remember all the times I did it.
Who fucking pressed the duck button as I was reading and made me
That
laugh?
was Josh.
It was
Okay.
the horn. The doorbell ringing was the duck button.
Anyway, we are going to take a short break and we'll be back for our final story. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
We're back. Final part of the episode. Tensions are high, so it's a good time to head over to Spooky Vision.
Tensions are very high on the podcast.
Yeah, we are definitely having some audio issues. We don't know why, but we think we may have temporarily fixed it.
The lack of duck sound.
Yeah, that's the real problem.
The real definition of ducksent.
My absent duck.
Absent duck. This is the etymology podcast today.
It's nice to get some more
learned about
lore.
where comfort comes from the comfort. Ducksent.
Yep.
Today's episode of Spooky Vision is entitled Christianity is a Cult, but that's not what this story is about, aka Sanctuary Schmanctionary.
I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
The memory was keeping his mind off of things for a moment. It all felt as fresh in his mind as Downy Fresh and Clean laundry detergent, aka 90% cleaner than the next competitor's laundry detergent and 95% fresher.
Nice.
We're getting so much money for this.
His father's beaming face as he placed the gleaming golden trophy up on the mantle of their home.
Ding.
It wasn't often that he'd ever seen his father proud of him because, hey, that's fathers. Am I right, fellow horrifically broken adult men?
1 out of 2 of us agrees, I think.
But this time he had earned it with his own sweat and tears. The engraved letters that flashed in the evening sunlight from the front house windows still echoed in his mind as he heard them spoken aloud. Matthew Allen Watts, MVP, Team Player of the Year. He had traced his finger across the small golden football statuette. The small golden football the statuette held in its drawn-back hand and smiled to himself.
That's American football?
Yes.
The shit one, yeah.
The one that makes more money than your whole country, yeah.
Wow.
But not more than soccer as a sport, right?
I guess.
This is very important to the story, so get this out.
Duck sound.
Ducksent.
The adoring voices of his family praising him for his accolade echoed in his ears further, but it couldn't drown out the stark reality beyond them. The wet, sloppy sounds of military boots, one size too small, heavily tromping through knee-high mud. The kind of sounds you probably heard last night outside of your mom's bedroom after she and I told you only one more episode of Blue Bloods or whatever fucking garbage you like, and then it was off to bed. But we were already off to bed, and I was knee-deep in your mama's ass getting blue-pilled to try and keep it up for her nasty old ass. Did I get a nut? Of course. I'm a professional.
Get that blue in your blood.
I like how the question is if you ejaculated.
With your nasty-ass mom? Yeah.
That's why you're the professional. There's no customer satisfaction at all.
No. What the fuck was I typing before? Oh, yeah. The air was alight with ozone, and every hair on his body was standing on end as he pushed himself to continue running. The sounds of bombs crashing and rifle fire cracked the grave-still night in twain over and over again as he struggled onwards. Matthew Watts wasn't heroically running towards his squad mates to save them at the last moment from an enemy bunker buster. He wasn't running for help from the nearest encampment of U.S. soldiers he could find to come rushing in with the cavalry at the last moment. No, he had no heroism left in him any longer. No bravado to hide his ever-growing fear in front of his mates. He was running away, deserting his comrades in arms. AWOL. His mind raced.
Stands for away without life.
I like how the first 2 letters are one word. Away.
It's what
Away.
It's what the listeners' mums gets. Anal without love.
Nice.
Shit. He's a
Fuck
professional.
you, listeners.
No kissing on the anal lips.
His mind raced almost as fast as his legs did, tromping through the woods with as much speed as the drenched ground would allow him. Streaks of rainwater drove down his face, dripping from his dangling chin as he wrenched air in and out of his lungs. He had no direction in mind, no destination to attain. Only fear whipping at him like a mad driver kept his pace. I need to learn how to read again for this season.
I know,
It's
it's
tough.
tough.
Only fear whipping at him like a mad driver kept his pace. Through the blackness of night, the haze of smoke and the flame of war at his heels, and the gathering black waves of clouds in the sky, he could almost piece together the outline of a red moon peering down at him derisively.
No.
It offered him no respite from the inky blackness of the wood, or from the ferrous guilt burning a hole through his chest in each raggedy breath. But then, finally...
magnetic.
But then finally, after a lifetime of striving that rivals your mama's lifetime of striving for that dick, he saw it. The faintest light in the far-flung distance, swaying in the mad wind of the surrounding storm. The wood parted and finally cleared, and there, across a wide field of hewn-down wheatgrass, stood a sight which filled his heart with a sudden comfort beyond any he had felt since his draft letter had arrived. A large stone church with a high tower, anointed with a broken old wooden cross. Over the large double wooden doors at its front dangled an ever-swaying iron lamp, its flame flickering but never extinguishing against the onslaught of rain and wind. The windows along the sides of the building even glowed lightly from the lamps therein. He thought at that moment that God must have been guiding his wild footfalls through the darkness for him to arrive at such a sanctuary such as this.
Or there's like 1,000 churches in America, so the chances are you're going to run into one.
This is not America.
Uh-oh! It isn't yet, am I right? Let's go, USA!
USA! Where was I? The rain spattered into his face like my baby batter be spattering your mama's face, because I ain't trying to have another disappointment like you around the house. Also because she loves it full on nasty like that. Even then, eventually, through much effort, he made it to the gigantic wooden double doors he had spied from afar and began to knock with all the force left inside of his waning body. But there was no answer. The door simply wobbled against his blows and moved just enough to show a slit of golden light from inside to him. The door seemed to have been ajar for a long time, as rainwater had stained the carpet on the other side. He even noticed it from outside. "Hello?" he croaked out, his voice a dried-up husk, like yo mama's dried-up corn husk of a baby maker.
Oh my god.
Your mom takes a real beating in this one, I'm sorry.
I mean, apparently she took a real beating last night after Blue Bloods.
It's true.
Or jury.
He cleared his throat and tried again, calling out, but there came no response. Damn it. Perhaps it was uncouth, but he invited himself inside. The foyer was adorned with a long carpet that led to another set of wooden doors, a few unlit candle stands, and a wooden seat next to a small desk. The dry air there felt so good on his drenched body that he could have stood in that foyer forever. But the sounds of voices just beyond the old wooden doors within spurred him onwards. He moved slowly, unaware of whether he would find Germans with guns beyond the door, or, even worse, he thought, Americans with punishment forms and pens. Readers of 2024 might notice that these two things are becoming almost indistinguishable these days, but there was a marked difference at the time. Still, he pushed on, opening one of the doors slowly and peering inside. The atrium of the church was lined on either side of the procession with medical tents, with red crosses adorning them, which set him immediately at ease. At least he wasn't dealing with Germans at the moment. He walked down the procession, looking into each tent as he passed. Each one had at least 2 cots in them with someone asleep underneath the thin medical sheets you would have seen in any hospital back home, but something about it all set his teeth on edge. But the familiar sight ahead of him drew him ever further in and lit a fire within his heart, the warmth of which compelled him. Rows and rows of church pews, all of them almost completely filled with revelers listening to a reverend who stood at the other end of the procession in front of his dais, a red leather book in his hand that he was gesticulating toward, and with, in the style of a southern preacher back home. And even more astonishing, it was English coming out of his mouth, not French.
What?
Humanity, huddled in the darkness, riddled with fear and burning with a hatred for all we did not yet know. The Reverend called out.
Third birth guy.
The Reverend called out in a deep, husky American voice with a tinge of Deep South at its edges, because that's the only kind of voice I can do thanks to bad geographical history. But God pierced the darkness and peered down upon us from the sky, the moon as his eye, to see and behold who and what had infested our world. And yet he judged us unworthy of enlightenment, and sent forth his heralds to ready for him a vessel, a new church from which to raise those of true worth from the gaggle. Suddenly, every member of the watching congregation slammed their right foot down into the floor, creating a deafeningly loud thud that echoed back and forth through the church's hallowed halls several times, into silence once more. "We are the Sin Eaters, given unto the total of humanity as to cleanse us of the darkness which so turned the eye of God away from us to begin with," the Reverend called out again, holding his red Bible aloft.
I'm in.
Again, the congregation slammed their right foot down into the floor, shaking the foundations around them as they did. "You!" the Reverend screamed out, throwing his arm in the air to point directly at Matthew Watts, who stood dumbfounded in the center of the room, behind all the lined-up pews. Every member of the congregation turned at once, like clockwork dolls, to face down Watts, who was struck by the sudden fear of every single pair of eyes in the place shifting onto him. Each of them stared, emotionless at him, the candlelight reflecting in their eyes like wild animals as they watched his every movement. Watts began, taking a step back instinctively as fear gripped his heart. "It seems we have a visitor to our little parish," the Reverend said with a strange warmth at the edge of his voice. He stepped back around the dais and motioned towards Watts with an off-putting smile stretched across his elderly features. "What is your name, young soldier?" Matthew Watts, sir. Private First Class Watts." He stumbled over his words, looking around aimlessly for a single face in the crowd that didn't seem blank and terrifying. "Private Watts," the Reverend said with his head tilted forward a bit. "Missy, would you mind to see to our guest until I can give him the grand tour later? I must finish my sermon for the evening for these fine folks." "Of course, Reverend Voice," a young woman responded, standing up and nodding towards the Reverend at the front of the room. She wore a Red Cross nurse's uniform with a blue cardigan sweater thrown over her shoulders, and had beautiful flowing blonde hair which ran like a waterfall down her shoulders and back. This wasn't regulation at all, mind you, but Watts's boner said it was fine.
Damn, he's been in the field too long. He's got to go to Paris and pay for some of that shit.
Before Watts could think beyond his attraction, she had made her way over to him and placed her hand gently on his arm. "Please follow me, sir." The smile on her ruby red lips was enough to drive a man to full-on Bonerville. Population, my dick. Major city export, jizz. But Watts tried to play it cool. It's nice to meet you, ma'am. I'm Private Watts. Matthew," he said with an awkward but sincere smile. "I'm Missy Cartwright," she said with a genuine smile of her own as she led him back to the medical tents behind the actual church portion of the hall. She guided him into one of the smaller white tents and pointed him towards a small wooden chair opposite a bed, next to a small wooden bedside table with pull-out drawers. "You know, you have such lovely gray eyes. Gray eyes are the most rare color, you know. What brings you to our parish, Mr. Matthew Watts?" "Oh, he was suddenly a deer in headlights. And not just
coward.
And not just because as a guy he hadn't received a compliment on his physical appearance since the doctor said he's got a full head of good hair to his mom when he was born.
Damn, true.
He threw off his soaked backpack and slid the sling of his rifle off his shoulder, carefully laying them back on the ground against the wooden bedside table as he waffled verbally. It's okay, Missy said politely, kneeling down beside him and placing her hand on his arm. "I know how horrid it is out there, especially for a soldier right now. You don't have to tell me anything now. Just know you're welcome here." Thanks, Watts said with a weak smile. He felt like the kind of low-life scum who would fuck your mother more than once. By the way,
yet effective.
By the way, I do mean your mother listening to this. Yes, you specifically. Yo mama nasty as fuck, dude.
Dude, we are single-handedly bringing back the Yo Mama jokes. I don't fucking feel bad about it.
Watts continued. I just have to ask, though. Yes, Matthew? Missy said as she leaned a little closer, causing Watts's heart to beat faster in his chest. I'm just confused. You and the Reverend both seem to be American? How in the world did you start a parish so close to Brest? Watts asked expectantly. Also, LOL breast.
French names.
Oh, well, Missy began, leaning away from Watts and placing the tip of her index fingernail between her teeth with a little anxiousness in her voice. Private Watts, the Reverend's voice boomed as he entered the tent, a wide, unnerving smile on his face. The kind of smile that would seem warm and welcoming besides the fact that the eyes didn't smile along with the rest. He was a man of about 50 or 60. It was quite hard to tell, who had flashing, piercing blue eyes that Watts had to look away from every few seconds out of uneasiness, an even tan complexion, and a thick white beard to go along with his head of perfectly coiffed white hair. He wore a classic Southern Baptist black suit and white frock that all seemed expertly tailored for his massive frame. Up front, it was obvious this man was hovering around 6'8" and was built, a strange combination for a preacher, Watts thought. Hello, Reverend? Watts was startled back into conversation. I apologize for interrupting your sermon. No need, my boy, no need. Perhaps the word found you at exactly the right time, The Reverend smiled his toothy, disingenuous smile. The kind of smile your shitty boss gives you at the holiday party right after you finished your 4th Jaeger bomb, and he's just finished the paperwork to fire you on Monday.
Better go for a 5th.
He continued, My name is Reverend Erasmus Voice. As you can probably tell, I'm not from around here. But I and my followers go where it is we are needed. Amen.
Cricket Man.
Amen, Missy said with an actual genuine smile on her face, clapping her hands together like a sexy seal.
So just a seal, you mean?
Oh, what's a sexy seal, huh, Jeff? LOL, are you some kind of furry? Seal the singer, bitch. Kiss from a rose. Ever heard of it? Checkmate. Watts felt even more uncomfortable than he did a moment before. You come to me with a heavy soul, Private Watts. The Reverend bowed his head, ironically, reverently, and clicked his tongue. What is it that you're running away from? The words hit Watts like cannon fire and caused his head to whip around to meet the Reverend's gaze. The older man still had that phony smile on his face. Nothing had changed about his demeanor at all, but it still caused fear to pump through Watts's veins. What? I'm not running from anything. I was sent to find supplies for my unit. Reverend Voice stared at him, his eyes hidden slightly below his lowered brow, completely still and silent, his hands steepled together like a prayer. The silence felt deafening, that familiar, distant droning almost audible, before he finally snapped back and said, Fine, my boy, fine. You've come to the right place, then. Oh my, you look starved, Missy yelped out, holding her hand over her mouth in surprise. Let me run to the kitchen and see what I can find for you to eat. Oh, you don't have to, Watts started, but Missy leapt up and ran out of the tent as quick as a lightning bolt. He was left alone with Reverend Voice, who still peered down at him through his brows, his hands together like a prayer. Watts felt an intense level of discomfort that reminded him of the statistics about being alone with a reverend as a young man. Oh, the Reverend said, snapping back to reality once again with his phony smile. We do in fact have a treat you could have. We stock the tents in case of malnutrition. He reached down past Watts to the top drawer of the bedside table and slid it open. There was a mesh bag inside, half filled with the most delicious-looking peaches that Watts had ever seen in his life.
It's gonna be a thing inside of it.
A peach like yo mama's ass, it was so juicy, but people would actually like the juice off of this one. Yo mama's ass juice? That's disgusting, dude. Don't bring that up. I'm trying to read my story.
Yeah, come on, Rich.
Sorry.
The Reverend retrieved one of the peaches and plopped it into Watts's hand in one motion, leaning back up to his full height and motioning for the smaller man to go on ahead and eat. Please eat, eat. You must get your strength back after all that running. Watts stared at the peach for only a moment. He hadn't felt the gnawing pangs of hunger tearing at his insides until now. He hadn't had time to think about it, but he couldn't really fight it any longer. He bit into it nasty, dirty-ass Nicolas Cage style and went to town on that bitch until nothing was left but the remains.
We've been watching Pluto a lot.
As he ate, Reverend Voice leaned against the pole in the center of the tent that kept it held upright. Did you know that the apple of biblical fame, the one that Eve tempted Adam to eat in the Garden of Eden, was most probably not an apple at all? Experts believe it must have been a pomegranate, but it was never actually specified in the text. Watts responded, nodding with his face full of peach. The book simply says the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Perhaps knowledge isn't as bad of a thing as we were led to believe, eh, Private Watts? The Reverend continued with his sharp, empty smile. We must simply pay the price for attaining it. Watts felt the room begin to swirl around him. His weight seemed to quadruple, and his muscles
It's a roofie peach. He's turning into a hassock.
And his muscles seemed to liquefy within him as he spun from his place on the chair and fell face first into the cold, hard stone floor below him. You know, gray eyes are quite rare, Private Watts. The Reverend's voice from a million miles away filtered into his ears as everything else faded. That familiar darkness he had thought he'd finally escaped once and for all overtook him, and there was a stillness and silence once more. Rich, are you hearing me okay?
I'm hearing you.
You're quite quiet.
I'm listening. I'm engaged.
Spooked out of his mind.
I'm trying to figure out what's happening.
A hazy vision returned to him ever so slowly. He felt a windless stillness in the air as he awoke that sent chills down his spine even without the cold to accompany it. The world was blurry, but there was one thing he could tell almost immediately. Everything around him was a deep, dark red. His fingers fumbled on the ground beneath him, feeling a swaying tall grass between his fingers where there had only been stone floor before. As everything came into focus, he looked off in one direction, finding only pitch blackness behind a field of swaying grass. In the other direction, a cliff overlooking still red waters that stretched as far as the eye could see in every direction. And at the cliff's edge stood a tall, thin tower which seemed to reach for the heavens above it. Heavens which were dominated by swirling, bleak red clouds encircling a blindingly bright red moon, hung so low in the sky as to almost be all-encompassing of the world. Where? Watts managed to sputter out, but his voice didn't carry at all, falling flat right in front of him. The air was so thin, he suddenly realized that he had to gasp in what little breath he could allow. He stumbled to his feet and began to run towards the tower, not knowing where he was or what had happened to him, and it being the only landmark he could see in the blackness and redness that surrounded him. But as he got closer, he stopped dead in his tracks. So hard, in fact, that he dropped to his knees from the sudden stop. The tower before him, wreathed as it was on all sides by the massive blood moon, and so hard to see in the darkness between the light, wasn't constructed of stone, or steel, or wood, or shell. It writhed and moved ever so slightly upon its surface, layer after layer of human flesh and bone, muscle which tensed and squeezed and bled into the stark black ground beneath it, but continued
Fleshlight headquarters.
but continued beyond all comprehension to live. And upon its surface, every so often throughout it, muscles would overlap and part, and between layers of flesh could be seen ever-watchful, unblinking eyes, which bled in squelching spurts as they beheld him, speaking a corpse language older than humanity itself.
French.
Damn, that's fucking metal as hell.
He screamed, lurching forward all at once. His voice echoed off the hall walls of the old church, his body displacing the thin white medical blanket off of him as he sat up in the bed. He was in the same church tent he had been before he had experienced whatever the fuck that was. You're okay. Missy's voice caught his attention, causing him to turn quickly and find her sitting next to his bed, in the same old wooden chair he'd been sitting in before. She placed her hand on his arm. You must have been more starved than we thought. The sudden rush of sugar from that peach put you unconscious pretty quick. The Reverend called me over to watch over you. I saw... Watts began but stopped. He breathed in and out hard, trying to catch his breath, but felt the air was still thin, even waking. That Reverend... Do you know him really well, Missy? Oh, not incredibly well, she began, rubbing her chin thoughtfully. I only arrived here last month, but he is very generous and a helpful man. He brings the light of God here, even to this God-forsaken place, amidst this God-forsaken war. He preaches the truth. They sat in silence for a moment, Watts rubbing his head as he sat there upright in bed. Finally, Missy stood up and fixed her dumb little paper nurse hat thing they all wore back then. I'd best check on the other patients, though. You sit tight. And then she was gone, ducked out of the tent and left Watts by himself. And there he sat, for about an hour trying to calm himself down, telling himself what he would do next, to reconcile that the stale, motionless air in his dreams seemed to be here, now. Until finally, he'd had enough of this. I've had enough of this, he said, having had enough of this.
We're a good show.
He stood up and found that he was wearing a patient's gown instead of his fatigues now. The thought of Missy having undressed him was fun for a minute, but he had more important things to focus on now.
I don't want some nurse seeing my fucking war-ravaged, dirty-ass dick after I'm fucking not
true.
bathing.
He turned his eyes to the tent next to his, which was dim and lightless as his had been, and resolved to speak with the patient within and see if everything was on the up and up here. He felt it in a pertinent way to reassure himself and get past these strange fears he had developed. He took a little longer than usual to make it such a short distance, thanks to a combination of the pain of his long journey catching up to him, and the fact that he was barefoot for the first time in a long time, but he still arrived at the next tent all the same. Lifting up the flap on the tent, he found himself in a small, darkened interior, the same as the one he had just been in, besides the silent, sleeping form of a man on the bed. "Hey, Joe, you awake?" "Hey," Watts began, waving in the darkness, but received no response. He crept the distance from the opening of the tent over to the bed and leaned down, squinting his eyes in the darkness. "Hey, Mac, you gotta help me out here." There was still no response from the man, except another raggedy breath from underneath his blanket. "Hey, don't ignore me, pal," Watts called out, grabbing the medical blanket from on top of him and yanking it away in one tug. "Oh, God," Watts cried out as he laid eyes on what the blanket had been hiding from him. Beneath the sheet was the torso and head of a human being, each of its limbs having been cut off with the dull saw that sat at the foot of the bed, and everything beneath the blanket covered in deep red blood. The raggedy, breathing man was still alive, his eyes wide open and frozen in fear, his jaw dangling open. "What the fuck did they do to you?" Watts' whisper screamed, looking around to make sure no one had heard his actual screams before. He looked at the man whose glassy eyes shifted in his head to look up at him, a slowly dawning realization behind them. The mutilated man's jaw began to move, and moaning half-words began to escape from them as he tried to speak. But Watts knew immediately that the man had no tongue in his mouth any longer. Blood bubbling up from his lips as he mumbled out the words. "Animals. Animals." "What?" Watts tried his hardest to understand him, but heard footsteps coming and decided the best course of action was to get the fuck out of there as fast as humanly possible. He dropped to the ground and lifted the edge of the medical tent up opposite the door, shimmying his body underneath it and allowing it to snap back to the ground behind him. He lay there in the darkness, listening hard inside the tent, as the mutilated man kept trying to speak. "Colonel Green." A deep, husky voice pierced the monotonous mumbling of the man within the tent, who, upon hearing his voice, began to try to scream, but was only able to mumble louder. The deep voice was unmistakable. Reverent voice. "I believed you incapable of telling tales, and yet here we are." As slowly and deliberately as he could, trying hard to make no sound at all, Watts shuffled up from his back onto his feet, little by little, as he listened to what was going on inside. "You don't understand, Colonel. Your flesh isn't going to waste. We are the Sin Eaters. The sins of mankind devoured and forgotten, we may finally be ready to gaze upon the face of God, and we shall be gloriously rewarded."
I got a bad feeling about this place, guys.
I don't think this reverend is a real reverend.
Watts tried his hardest not to scream or to puke when he heard the unmistakable sound of cold, sharp metal pierce flesh, and the mutilated man try to scream once more.
It's okay if he's 50% fish.
Followed by the even more unmistakable sound of biting, chewing, and swallowing. They must yet live on, Colonel. Only the living can sin, the Reverend said, mouth full from within the tent. Watts was up enough now that he didn't bother trying to mask his sounds any longer and simply ran away from that tent as fast as he could. He tried to orient himself towards the front doors, but couldn't in the dim light left in the church halls. The storm raging outside gave him only moments of flashing light as lightning pierced the sky and thunder rocked the building. He ran past medical tents, seeing into them as he passed, and each one of them held a dark, horrid secret within that no man should ever have to see in his lifetime. Piles of human body parts, a person drawn and quartered with their chest cavity open, a copy of that shitty-ass fucking Harry Potter play signed by J.K. Rowling herself.
Damn, this is fucked up.
Nightmare after nightmare as he ran for his life, tears streaming down his face. Until a door! He hit a solid wooden door. With both hands, he grasped onto the wrought iron handle and yanked it back with all of his might. He swung it open quickly, stepped inside, and slammed it shut behind him without even losing a breath in between. But he was in no foyer. Certainly not back outside. Instead, he found himself in a large round room, made entirely of stone, with no decorations upon any wall. At the center of the room rested a gigantic, well-sized circular opening with a raised stone wall around it, about thigh height. The opening pitch black and seemingly endlessly deep from where he stood. But above it, dangling from numerous chains and metal wires with crisscrossed from wall to wall, and where driven into the stone with steel spikes, was an undulating mass of human arms, legs, torsos, hands, feet, teeth, eyes, everything which made up a human being, but twisted and grafted onto one another to create a horror unimaginable to the minds of the sane and obliterating to the minds of those left. It moved. God, it moved. But there was no life to it. It was like the movement of the corpse when air was drawn through, or an animal whose head had chopped off but its body lived for a moment longer. The undulating, squelching movement of the dead. And from it, waterfalls of blood which drained down into the utter empty darkness below it within the well. Watts stared for what felt like an eternity, trying and failing to make any kind of sense of the abomination before him until he could no longer bear to look upon it. Even as shock drove him on to continue. And he wrenched the door behind him back open, dove through, and slammed it back shut behind him as harshly as he could. He slid down the door onto his backside, his hands buried in his face, and he began to weep and scream into his palms, his back heaving with every sound. "Private Watts!" Missy's voice broke him from his meltdown, his eyes turning up to her wide and tear-filled. "Oh my God, what happened to you?" Watts started, leaping up from his place on the floor and grabbing her by her arms. "We have to get out of here. We have to go now. Now! There are things here. Horrors. I can't. We must..." But his raving was cut short by a small silver dagger slipping between his ribs and into his heart with surgical precision. He gasped, the air finding no purchase within his lungs. His wide, wet eyes turned to Missy with a pleading stare, but found her with only a small, serene smile on her face as she slid the knife back out of him. "We can't go anywhere yet, Matthew. It's almost dinner time," she said softly. The memory of the golden trophy upon its place of honor, high on the marbled mantel of their living room, ran back through his mind again. Matthew Allen Watts, MVP, Team Player of the Year. The ability to stand with your team through thick and thin and come out victorious above all else had been his belief. His true north, his father had told him. As he had set off to France from Fort Benning in Georgia, his father had phoned him to remind him of his true north. "If you have the next guy in the foxhole's back, he'll have yours," his father had told him. "When you're all one another has, you have to be there for one another. You sustain them." After having abandoned his squad mates at Brest, he now stared with wide, shaking eyes across a room full of those he was now sustaining. He watched as all of the church congregation devoured his body, piece by piece, forkful by forkful, until Reverend Voice stood before him with his bloodied spoon held at him, directly at his level of vision. Those rare gray eyes of yours, Private Watts, they would be perfect for our true God once he arrives to join us. And then all went black. Forever. The end.
Oh my God!
That was spooky.
Jeff is the new Lovecraft.
Welcome
Without
to
the
Spooky
racism.
Vision Season 3.
That was great.
I mean, it wasn't.
That was.
Wasn't very funny, Jeff, but it was really good.
The Your Mother stuff
Yeah.
kind of faded out.
And it became true horror.
The existential horror kicked in, and
Yeah.
that guy should have just stayed killing Nazis instead of
Yeah.
having to run away and be a little bitch about it.
Yeah.
He was the MVP team player of the year. He should have known.
Yeah. He should have fucking, yeah.
I mean,
I decided
Run away, or you'll get eaten by a cult.
I decided about partway through this, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to lean into the scary this time. I'm going to make a real horror story.
well, you did a good job, buddy.
I
Thank
knew
you.
that nurse was bad news. Blondes never are good in the 40s.
Well, also, don't go in a church. What the fuck's wrong with
Yeah.
you?
Don't go in a church.
Ever.
Yeah.
Will this be the first part of a continuing story? Even I don't know.
Who knows?
Not for Watts.
Well, he's not going to see anything, so...
They ate him. He's poo now.
His eyes might come back.
Yeah.
Maybe.
His eyes might come back. That's the best we can hope for in this dog-eat-dog world.
It'll come back in one form or another, poo or eyes.
Everything's made out of shit.
Yep.
I've said it a million times.
But not this podcast.
Or is
Oh, shit.
They were 3 great stories this week. I think we were.
so.
I think we were slightly concerned that we had lost it after having a month off, but we definitely have not.
No, you guys brought it big
it?
time.
Also, you did too.
Sure, but I can't compliment myself.
Why?
I loved you guys. I don't know, because I'm fucked up.
Sorry, you're Josh. I remember.
Because I'm fucking brain damaged.
Yeah. I loved your story.
Thank you.
I also
I like to
loved...
actually, like I told the Discord this, that there's like, there's stuff in this story that I myself find extremely off-putting in horror movies.
Go into war.
Fighters.
Yeah, I'm very much against war, but
Religion.
What about a war against spiders, Jeff?
I'm the generalissimo of that war.
Call him the 8-legged killer.
Yeah, I very much don't like people being alive after they've lost their limbs, like in horror movies and stuff. Spooks me right out of my pants. So
It's like Metallica, the video.
Before some
that
smart
Thundercat video.
Before some smart ass comments, that's not Jeff saying he has anything against paraplegics.
No,
He's
I
not
got
saying
nothing
that.
against
So let's not go down that road.
What? If you listen
We're
to
not
what
on
he
Twitter.
said,
It's fine.
he said he doesn't like living paraplegics.
Wow.
That's
I
what
said
he
I
said.
don't like it when people get their limbs cut off in horror movies and they have
Yes.
to watch.
And
Yes.
there are still alive. That's what you
He
said.
made me watch.
He made me watch. There was, yeah.
I don't care for that.
No.
So I put it in my story so I could spook
I like
myself.
the part of that movie where her titties and butt are out.
She is
that's a
hot
good
as hell.
part.
What
I
movie
don't
are we
know
talking
her-
about here?
Sin
Carla
City.
Gugino.
Oh, yeah.
That's her name.
She's really good in the is it Mike McMahon stuff? The house Haunting of Hill
Haunting
Manor
of
and,
whatever,
yeah, and-
Haunting
yeah,
of-
they're
Oh,
really
yeah.
great, those stories. But she's really, really good in them. Anyway, we're talking about stories that we haven't written.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I loved both your stories. They were absolutely great.
I love both your stories.
And I'm Josh.
Wow.
So,
Fuck you, Josh. How about that?
with that, we're going to close the cover on this week's stories.
Wow.
Nice.
We're on Skype. We don't have good sound effects
we
anymore.
really need to fucking like oil that book, I think.
I'm going to bring out, because the prompt, All-C prompt cranking machine is here, so this season, so I'm going to bring that out, and our first prompt... Oh, before I do that, Peaches and Trophies was brought to us by Federico Rodriguez and Respect Me Daddy, respectively.
And we do.
So this week, the first prompt is Time by Squid Ludwig.
That's any story.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all story.
Yeah, that's the easiest shoehorn. If space comes up, we could just write whatever the fuck we want.
It's like a free spot on the bingo card.
Oh, no. Benches by Respect Me Daddy again. 2 weeks running.
Respect me, Daddy.
We're respecting you hard. Time and benches. Okay.
Why not?
I mean, yeah, sure. So they were the two prompts for next episode's stories. So if you heard those and you were like, time, what a nebulous concept for a story. How could someone suggest that and not think every story exists in time? Sorry, Squid, I'm only joking. Then you need to head over to patreon.com/storylords, and for as little as $5 a month, you can suggest your own prompts. You can be part of our Discord. You can read the stories in their truest text format on the website. And then for $10, you get access to our sidecasts. We have one called Redesign by Committee, where we redesign an existing IP and make it better, because of course we do. And then there's one called Afterlords.
The Urkel Cinematic Universe.
That was M class.
That was M class. And then the other one is Afterlords, where we just talk. We just talk about
We
things.
give it. It's a chat show. We
It's
chat
a
it
chat
up.
show. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
And then for $15, you can A, interrupt Josh whenever you like, and then B, you get access to a PDF version of the book when it comes out, and some creator credits in the book itself.
Also, you would be supporting us quite a lot, and we would appreciate it very much.
Yes, we need to do something else for the $15 patrons, I feel.
We'll suck their
50?
dicks right off.
Or are they 20?
Oh shit! Is that legal to say? I don't care.
Anyway, are they 15 or are they 20?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, it's
Is that
been a
my
long
job?
time. Yeah, it's not mine.
What am I supposed to know?
It's not mine. I'm host. Remember, we decided this. I'm
And
host.
I'm Josh.
You start the show, the Skype call, and then Josh is Josh.
And I'm here.
Josh edits the show.
Your favorite?
Yes, but that isn't
Podcast
funny. If you want to know anything else about the show, you can head over to storylords.page or storylords.card.co. Have we got any reviews on iTunes?
Yes.
Hey,
Shit, yeah.
We have 2 reviews, both from 6 days ago, as a matter of fact.
that's. I went very Kenneth Williams from Carry On Films there. I did a ooh.
I don't know who that is.
Jeff and I both
okay.
know what that is, but Rich doesn't. Could you explain it to him?
No. So, okay,
Our
read the reviews.
first review comes from Average Fantasy Enjoyer. And
Just the average guy.
it's entitled Highly Enjoyable. I heard that patented Josh Henderson cry for help and knew it was time to leave a review. The show makes me laugh, the kind of laugh that compels strangers in public to actively avoid eye contact with me. 5 stars.
Excellent.
We're doing you a favor, buddy.
Yeah. Who wants to talk to anyone?
And our other review is from Cam McClellan. It's entitled Funny Guys. These funny lads have kept me entertained through some of the most hectic times of my life. You can rely on these guys to write some of the most hilarious and heartfelt stories that'll ever grace your ears. Also, go birds! 5 stars.
Birds!
Thank you,
Birds!
thank you both for those reviews. They were great. We
Yes.
love a review. If you want to leave a review, you can head over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review from us. We will normally read it on the show if we can. Sometimes they don't show up for weeks on end. We don't have any control over that, I'm afraid. That's just that.
Just like my drive. That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought you were gonna say ass. I don't know why.
It's like my ass. Like Iron Man's dad when he's doing his. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's like so random, and you're like, what the fuck?
No.
When he's doing the Stark symposium thing. Expo, that's it.
Head over to storylords.card.co. That's card with 2 R's.
Patrons. So we always do this. We read out the names
before
of the
we do
patrons.
that, we have some updates, some information to share.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay. It's news to me.
Storylords is no longer on Twitter. We're fucking not doing that. Storylords is on Blue Sky now, and you can find us at storylords.bsky.social. If you just go to Blue Sky and type in Storylords in the search, we will come up as the first one.
And we all have accounts over there as well. You can find us pretty easily.
It's all our full names.
Yeah.
So.
I got Rich Masters.
Suck that shit, Josh Henderson from Dallas.
I love that so much. That this actor, this Hollywood soap actor guy, can't get his own name on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he should have picked a different name, you fuck.
Yeah.
It's true.
Maybe you should have seen the incoming right-wing nut job, Elon Musk, become a right-wing nut job. It's weird. It's wild to me to think that
who would have seen that?
Who would have saw it?
But
I think it's important that we say our full names now, because I don't think we've ever done that on the podcast. Or did we do it at the beginning? I don't remember.
We do it at the beginning.
It's usually I'm Rich. This is Josh. This is Jeff. Right?
I said full names today.
He says full name.
He's using full government. All right.
I put social security numbers in as well.
Which is crazy because only me and Jeff have that, and for some reason you get out of this. And now we're fucked.
We have a national insurance number.
Oh God, wouldn't want people getting free health care. God damn.
JeffPennington.bsky.social.
Mine's the same, but Rich Masters.
Josh Henderson.
Son of Hender.
Yep.
That's the name.
Ton of penning.
just a Masters. Anyway, patrons. We like to say thank you to the following people specifically for being the top tier patrons. Henry Roselar, King of Patrons.
Thank you. Dun, 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 dun.
Still the King of Patrons. Just an amazing guy. Thank you. Anthony Stoker, Federico Rodriguez, Granola Daniels, Heath Robinson, Jonathan Anderson, Pez King, Sarah Kemp, Sean Tabor, Squid Ludwig, Stephen, Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, Ace Wizard. Is that it? Oh no, Ace. I'm going to give you a free one, Ace Wizard, because I've read an extra name there. And then,
now, thank you everybody so much for being top tier patrons and being so in our corner and supportive of our show. We appreciate the holy hell out of it. Thank you so much.
I'm also going to give a big shout out to Alkestra, who has been a patron since December the 5th, 2022, and is one of our top contributers. Thank you.
How about a 2-year anniversary? It's very soon.
Yeah.
We're going to take you out to a nice Italian restaurant and
then fuck your mom.
We're going to put out.
Yeah, I'm ordering 5 lobsters. You know what that means.
And then we're going to dine and ditch.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford that.
5 lobsters in this economy?
5 disgusting sewer-ridden lobsters.
Man, when they have them in that tank and shit, it's like
I don't want to kill the lobster.
No,
I don't even want to eat lobster. It's not even good.
No,
it's not even.
It's basically it's a distribution system for butter.
Yeah. Why don't I just eat butter like a fucking American, you know?
Deep fry that shit, it's suddenly okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there, boom.
Big thank you, as always, to Vidison, the Fourth Lord, who provides all the music for the show. You can find out anything about Greg at vidison.card.co.
He might be, like I was talking to him yesterday, he might be working on new tunes for Storylords.
What the fuck?
It is season 3, you know. New music each season, maybe.
Next time we go to the Renaissance Fair, I'm gonna have to get my lip chap ready to suck this guy off.
Suck his ye ol' wiener off at the...
Suck his woodwind instrument.
Go to the privy.
We spent like 90% of the Renaissance Fair calling everything ye olde. Ye olde this, ye olde that. That's uninteresting and unnecessary to point out, but that's the kind of guy I am.
I asked if everything was enchanted, and they have to say yes by law.
Didn't you get attacked by ye olde bumblebees?
Yeah, there
was
wasps.
ye olde bees.
Oh, ye olde wasps, even worse. Right.
Don't worry, we had disgusting absinthe to run them away, so it's fine.
Actually worked. It totally worked.
So, next episode, time and benches. Get ready for another thrilling installment that contains time and benches. I don't know where I'm going with this. Come back for episode 2. We love you. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.